How did they win that game? What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video of Sports Talk Buffalo. The UB Bulls football team barely, by the skin of their teeth, squeak by Old Dominion 35-34, and that pushes their record to 2-2 in non-conference play. And this is we are now heading into conference play. The game started out very, very sloppy for both teams. UB had back-to-back punts blocked, which set up Old Dominion in fantastic field position for multiple drives. However, after Old Dominion blocked a punt and then got down into field goal range, UB returned the favor and then blocked a field goal attempt, which they took in to score on the ensuing drive. And then, of course, UB went 3 and out and had another punt blocked. So it started very, very oddly. I don't think I've ever seen 3 blocked kicks in a game, let alone a single quarter. And then after that, all that hectic and craziness that happened, UB took control in the first half, and they went into the half with a lead of 35-7. Now, Old Dominion came out, and we thought that the Bulls had this well in hand. It's 35-7. The Bulls are a running team. There's no way Old Dominion's going to get back in this. They're dominating them in every facet of the game. Old Dominion scored 27 unanswered points in this game to almost tie it up. The only reason why this game wasn't tied up and UB was able to squeak by with a win was because of a penalty that Old Dominion took after the touchdown, which moved the field goal back 15 yards, and then they missed the extra point. That's the only thing that saved UB, was that. It was an absolutely epic collapse in the second half by UB's offense and defense. UB's offense didn't help their defense because they didn't put up any more points. And that's a huge part of the problem. Now, we head into conference play 2-2. We did beat the 2 teams that we were supposed to beat. We could have beaten Coastal Carolina. However, piss poor time management in that game. UB got the ball with 9.5 minutes to go. And instead of trying to get downfield quickly and score a touchdown or a field goal, they just ran 7 minutes off the clock and kicked it to Coastal Carolina with like 2 minutes to go. It was one of the most frustrating things I've seen. It was a fantastic drive. If they were up by 7 points, or 3 points, it would have been an unbelievable drive. But when they were down 2 scores, the fact that they had that drive was incredibly embarrassing and frustrating. You had fans in the stands literally screaming at Mo Linguist to run a play because he was running so much time off the clock. But alas, they end 2-2 in non-conference play, and they head into conference play. And they head into conference play against a very, very difficult opponent. But we'll get to that in a second. Now, there's serious concerns that I have for UB heading into conference play. The first concern is that it appears that UB's defense is very susceptible to the big play, especially on the back end. There were several big plays against UB from Nebraska. They gave up 17.8 yards per completion to Coastal Carolina, and they also allowed Old Dominion QB DJ Mack a long TD run to get Old Dominion back in the game and swing the momentum. And they also have what should have been a touchdown by Old Dominion that was dropped. So UB is very susceptible to a big play, and that is something that really needs to be addressed moving forward. Another major concern that I have that I didn't think would be a concern at all this season is Kevin Marx is supposed to be their RB1, their lead back, their guy that's going to just be the man. They're going to lean on him. He's looked pretty terrible his first 4 games this season for UB. He's looked well below average. In his first 4 games, he's carrying the ball just 3.8 yards per carry. And yes, that includes the game against their FCS opponent and the game against Old Dominion. He has just seemingly not been anywhere near where we thought he would be, and he is in real danger of losing his starting position to his backup, Dylan McDuffie. Another thing that concerns me is the Bulls' offense. Now, their offense, I've said this before, their offense is very limited with Kyle Van Treese as their quarterback. It just is. He's not overly mobile. You can't really run read option with him. He doesn't seem like he likes to throw it over the middle very much, and he's got an average to below average arm. However, and that is a problem with UB's offense in a nutshell. The offense averages just 18.6 points per game. Outside of the 69 points, UB has averaged just 18.6 points per game over the last 3 games, and they've been shut out in 6 of their last 12 quarters. They've been shut out in half of the last 12 quarters of football that they have played. That's a problem. That means their offense is incredibly inconsistent, and that's something that needs to change moving forward. Now, UB is going to be facing one of the best teams right now in the Mid-American Conference to open up conference play. And this week, they're facing off against Western Michigan. Western Michigan is currently 3-1 in non-conference play with wins over a big upset win over Pittsburgh. They beat San Jose State soundly 23-3, and they also shut out Illinois State. There are some keys to victory in this game, and we're going to go over them right now. Broncos, defensively, some keys to victory is Broncos QB Caleb Elby is a redshirt sophomore and has gotten off to an incredible start to the season. He's averaging 225 yards per game in his non-conference schedule, has 7 touchdowns against 0 interceptions. And this is a problem because I just said that UB is susceptible to big plays. And this is something that they will have to keep him in check in order to be able to have an opportunity to win this game. Another defensive key is UB will also have their hands full trying to stop running back Sean Taylor, who is averaging 5.5 yards per carry, and he also adds in the element of being able to catch it out of the backfield. He has 9 receptions for 71 yards. Again, another defensive key to success is you cannot allow the big play, and that is something that it looks like offensively the Broncos could target for UB. Now, offensively, the Bulls have some things that they also need to work on in order to win this game. There are some keys that need to happen in this game for UB to stand a chance. Running back Kevin Marks needs to return to 2020 form. He averaged well over 6 yards a carry. He looked strong. He looked fast. He looked agile. He looked like a violent runner who hit the hole hard, didn't second guess himself, and picked up lots of yards after contact. This season, none of that. He has looked like none of that. And that is a problem moving forward because UB is so reliant upon their run. Another thing that UB is going to have to try to figure out as we move into conference play is that they must find a wide receiver outside of Keon Williams to be able to contribute. Keon Williams is literally like their only receiver that is even somewhat reliable at getting open. He has averaged 86.5 yards per game over the first 4 games. He's got 346 yards, and the next closest person to him is Dominic Johnson, and he has just 158 yards, receiving yards, over the first 4 games, which comes out to 39.5. That is such a huge drop-off in terms of your 1-2 receiver. Dominic Johnson seems like he's better suited to not necessarily be a wide receiver, but to be a tight end. And I know they tried him at tight end and whatever. I guess they like him better at wide receiver. And I know he's a senior, but he's not getting the job done on the outside. Either that or Kyle Van Treese just doesn't throw him the ball. And the next big key to winning this game is UB must open up their playbook. There is so many times where it looks like the exact same play that UB runs. Almost every time they throw the ball, it looks like it's either a 9 route, which is a go route, a streak on the outside, or a short dig route where it's like a 7-yard curl and he just comes in, where they play off coverage and he hits them for a 7-yard gain or something like that. There seems like there's no screen passes, no wide receiver screens, no running back screens. When they do the 4 running back screens or however many they ran, they get completely blown up. There's no wide receiver screens. There's no seam routes over the middle. There's no post routes. There's no deep out routes. There's no dig routes coming over the middle. There's no crossing routes for trying to get a rub route. Looks like there's none of that in UB's offense. So their offense is extremely, extremely limited. And in order for the Bulls to be able to be successful in MAC play, Kyle Van Treese must shoulder more of the load to help spread out opposing defenses. This is not last year. You do not have a stable of running backs that are going to come into this game and run for 7.5, 8 yards a carry. You just don't have that this year. You don't have the offensive line to open up those massive holes. So what happens is you have to be able to pass the ball to move the guys off the line of scrimmage so that your running backs have room to maneuver. Because it's clear that teams do not respect the Bulls' passing game. When you see both safeties down in the box, that's telling you that they do not respect the Bulls' passing game in any way, shape, or form. And that's something that the Bulls need to make teams pay for. And so far, they haven't really done that. Kyle Van Treese is averaging just 198 yards a game through his first 4 games. And yes, that is a slight uptick in terms of yards per game since last year where he averaged 189. However, that's just not going to be good enough if you want to compete for a MAC championship. You have to be able to be a multifaceted team. And with Kyle Van Treese under center, if he cannot figure out a way to be better, then the Bulls will be a big disappointment for the rest of this year. My prediction for this game is that Western Michigan will be too much for the UB Bulls to handle, and that the Bulls offense will not be able to make up for the big plays that Western Michigan makes on offense, and the Bulls end up losing 31-21. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a fantastic week.